Alright, welcome back. Now on this stream, I want to talk about YouTuber Nephicari Desoline. Before I get into it, I want to point out that, I'm all about black men being united. I'm all about black men empowering each other and supporting each other. I understand people have disagreements. I just sometimes hope, or usually I hope it could be a peaceful disagreement. But what do you do with the black men who cause the most damage, as the title says? What if the people who cause the most damage to black men are black men? If that happens, if you ask me, you have to deal with those particular traitors. You have to expose those backstabbers, those fakes, and those frauds. They're causing the most damage. For example, there are several black men on YouTube who make good content. They have a pretty well established channel and they're doing well for themselves. If another black man makes a video about that particular YouTube channel and manages to damage their public image or reputation, that'll have a negative impact on that YouTuber for as long as the video criticizing them, bashing them, attacking them, for as long as that video is online. Okay? Now just imagine if this happened to 10, 15, 20 different black men. And the person who came through and tarnished their image, attacked them, ruined or damaged their public image. Just imagine if that person who was doing that was another black man. In a scenario like that, that particular so-called black man needs to be addressed. Okay? In a perfect world only, can we have all black men under the same umbrella? United against the enemies. But in this world, in the real world, black men have several enemies, and several of those enemies, I won't say several, some of those enemies are other black men, whether they be from a different country or not. And I have an example of one of those types of black men, and that is YouTuber Nephicari Desoline. Now, this is a young Haitian black man. A young Haitian black man. I believe he's still in his 20s. And he's very articulate. He has a wealth of knowledge of history. Like, when you listen to him, it is impressive. It really is. Listening, he's very articulate, and he, like I said, he just knows a lot of things about African history, about even American history, his own history, so on and so forth. And he has this sort of strong delivery. He has a strong delivery. And he proclaims to be a Pan-Africanist. Yet he uses his influence primarily to destroy the image of other black men. When you operate like that, in my opinion, you are not a Pan-Africanist. If I look at your track record, you come claiming you a Pan-Africanist and you pumping your fist, and I look at your portfolio and I see that the primary people you've destroyed, you've used your gift against, has been other black men, you're an enemy to black men. That can apply to black men in general or FBA men. Because this guy, Nephicari Desoline, primarily has an issue with black American men. Though he at times says positive things about certain black American men, his only beef in this world is against black American men. So in my opinion, he is just another enemy of black American men. And he, like I said, claims to be a Pan-Africanist. And to me, that is not how a Pan-Africanist operates. He also has referred to me as a Tariq Nasheed fanboy. Now, me and Tariq are about the same age. We are around the same age. And I understand that there are a lot of fans of Tariq, or I won't say fans, followers, subscribers. There are a lot of people who are subscribed to Tariq, view him as a leader. And they go as far as to shape their own persona after him and after the things that he believes. You know, they are hardcore, die-hard, almost like followers. I won't say worshipers, but they sort of look at him like a leader. I understand that. But on the other hand, you have several people who disagree with Tariq, who are passionate in their disagreement to the point where they're actually obsessed with Tariq. And I believe this guy is one of those types of people. So he's called me a fanboy of Tariq, and I view him as a fanboy, only in the way of, you know, being an enemy of Tariq and essentially using Tariq to help popularize his channel. If you go to his channel, click videos, and pull up, and here he's just uploaded another one 45 minutes ago about Tariq Nasheed. He's obsessed with Tariq Nasheed, as many of these foreigners are. But if you click and go to his oldest videos, you'll see his earliest videos. And what you're going to notice is that he wasted very little time to start talking about Tariq. And as you can see, he noticed right away that Tariq gave him a lot of views. Talking about Tariq got him a lot of views. On top of, you know, just having this crazy obsession, having nightmares and dreams about Tariq Nasheed. I'm not like that. I disagree with a lot, maybe even most of the things. And I've even made videos about my disagreements with Tariq. Fanboys don't do that. Okay, so let's just get that straight. I'm a content creator, and I'm not that type of content creator. I don't pattern myself after nobody. But there are some things that Tariq talks about that I agree with. And one of the things that he discusses that I agree with is his stance, or the things that he says about immigrants and how immigrants behave, function, and the history of how immigrants have tried to undermine us here in this country. We'll get deeper into that later. But right now, I have a short clip from Nephicari Desoline. This is a short video, actually. It's only 13 minutes long. You see the title. It says, Pan-Africanism is dead. And I view this video, he uploaded it a month ago, I view this video as sort of a general outline of his beliefs. And he's going to add in some other things for you here as well.
He acknowledged that Pan-Africanism is real and is strong among the youth. Now,
of course, he is defending Pan-Africanism right now. He's defending Pan-Africanism.
Video last night, I basically said within the past calendar year, we've seen similar statements being made by a variety of powerful people and institutions, right? Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, Council on Foreign Relations, and now 4-star General Michael Langley.
And sorry, reason I'm sharing this video is because I believe this is one of the main reasons why people like him have a problem with black Americans. It is our delineation away from Pan-Africanism, turning against not even turning against it, but just us coming to the realization that it's an unrealistic ideology for us right now. It's unrealistic. And a lot of hostility. You find a lot of foreigners hostile towards us for doing that. And he's one of those people.
Now, in my video last night, I was basically acknowledging the fact that over the past few years, if you notice, there's been this sentiment in the atmosphere. I feel like it's kind of been a deliberate push to discredit, to basically defame the name and the image of Pan-Africanism.
No, and I disagree. I disagree. And I believe one of the things that this YouTuber does, this Nephicari Desoline, he will change the narrative. He'll take things out of context, and almost create, not almost, literally, he creates straw man arguments. Takes the things that people say out of context, he fails to quote them properly, all to formulate an argument that's easy for him to debunk. And that is not impressive, bro. That really isn't. And you're gonna have to grow out of that if you want to, grow into this super elite debater, which that's how he views himself, calls himself invincible and all this other egotistical nonsense. He's extremely full of himself. But let's continue.
Give it a negative connotation. Really, I would say since around maybe 2020, I would say since then, I've been noticing a lot of anti-Pan-African propaganda, right? Most notably, a common phrase you would hear in the atmosphere, Pan-Africanism is dead. Pan-Africanism is dead. All type of different terms and negative connotations, right? And I say it's a deliberate push because before all of this anti-Pan-Africanism propaganda, there generally wasn't any...
Whoa. Sorry about that. Let me fix the sound here. I don't want y'all to have that type of experience.
Negativity associated with Pan-Africanism. It was either seen as something harmless or something that was positive, right? But over the past few years, I noticed that there's been a concerted effort to actually demonize the ideology, and it's kind of become a punching bag almost. Even just a couple weeks ago, I did a video on,
That is a lie. That is a lie. The only thing that has happened is that we've come to the realization that that is unrealistic. Africa is not even established well enough. Neither are we, to be honest, for us to engage in Pan-Africanism or the type of Pan-Africanism that would empower the both of us. The only thing that we could do to empower us as far as black people worldwide is like online stuff. As far as us, working with Africa and having militaries and all that kind of stuff, dude, that is hundreds of years in the future. That is unrealistic right now. The realistic thing for all blacks all around the world to do right now is to establish ourselves where we are right now. if you want to do business or whatever with those other countries, fine. Build yourself up, reach out to those countries, find out what type of wholesale goods or whatever they have to sell to you, and you do business with them. There's many black people here in America who do that right now. But as far as having empires to defend us against European militaries, United States militaries, come on. Let's just be realistic. That's where we come. And on top of that, us here in America, we come to the realization of how tribal so many people from Africa actually are. We had no idea they were talking about us behind closed doors the way that they were. And we also saw how many of them were attaining status here in the United States only to use their status, use their platform, use their position to operate against black Americans. We saw that as treasonous. We still do. And we would be hung if we went into y'all's country and done that. We have been pointing out things like that. And he is twisting it into, oh, Pan-Africanism has been turned into a demonic and a punching bag. No. And that's weak. That's weak of you and anybody else to try to twist the argument, again, just to suit you. Turn it into an argument that you can beat up on. But let's continue.
No, Tariq Nasheed, for example, Governor Westmore, he vetoed the bill for reparations, and then Tariq Nasheed blamed that on Pan-Africanism. Somehow he attached Westmore, Governor Westmore, with Pan-Africanism.
Again, that was a lie. Again, why did you lie like that? If you know so much and you speak so well, why do you need to lie like that? That's not what Tariq did. And me calling you, you're lying on Tariq. But me pointing out your lie, I bet you're going to sit there and say, oh, look at you fanboying for Tariq. No, Negro. You're lying on the man. The only thing Tariq said was, hey, where was this Pan-Africanism? This foreigner is over here in our land, has attained yet another one who attained some powerful position and uses it to operate against black Americans. Tariq was saying, where's the Pan-Africanism in that? You can't expect us to align or unite with foreigners, blacks from the diaspora like that. And that is a fair point. And it's weak on y'all's part for ducking and dodging that point, because that's all y'all do. You change the narrative, change the subject, duck and dive, because you don't want to confront your own hatred for others, especially black Americans. You don't want to confront your own tribal mentality that has led and contributed to global destruction of black people. Again, that is very weak, but let's continue.
And then used it as a punching bag. And I noticed that that's kind of been like a common trend as of recently. Pan-Africanism became the punching bag, right? The guys who just want to love their people and show love to their people and have their people prosper and be protected and live, a prosperous existence, they became the punching bag in the community, right? You go outside, it's raining. Oh, it's because of the damn Pan-Africanists, right? You driving to work, you get a flat tire, it's because of them damn Pan-Africanists. You go to the burger spot for a plate of food, they forgot to put onions on your burger, it's because of the damn Pan-Africanism, right? I noticed that Pan-Africanism became the de facto punching bag, right? And to be honest, when it came to me, I never understood why. I mean, some of the greatest, most illustrious, most intelligent, most formidable black men to ever walk the planet.
Now, this is nothing but disgusting lies. This is almost scamish. This falls right in line with that scam personality. That is an outright lie. We have just understood how far we are from Pan-African, a functional Pan-African world. And we've understood that right now is not the time, it's not even possible for us to do any type of real trade or anything like that. The only type of Pan-Africanism that we can practice today is respect. Respect. Support online, like other people's channels. We can work together by not spreading lies about black men, about black people. And as you can see, this guy who claims to be a Pan-Africanist fails to do that. Matter of fact, he's about to run down a whole list of black men that he destroyed.
Fest and promoted the ideology of Pan-Africanism, right? Pan-Africanism produced some of the greatest black men to ever walk the earth. I don't even got to go down the list. I don't got to name, Malcolm X and Patrice Lumumba or Sankara, or I could just name Desoline and Christophe. Desoline and Christophe, right? I could just name those two names, and those two black men alone are worth millions of black men. Those two black men alone, right? In terms of their contribution to the black race. So as I was sitting back and I was looking around and, seeing Pan-Africanism become the punching bag, right? The ideology of Malcolm X, the ideology of Patrice Lumumba, the ideology of Desoline and Christophe and Marcus Garvey, and the ideology of so many amazing black men that have came and went, Khalid Muhammad, Amos Wilson. I mean, the list goes on, right? And I guess it's because Pan-Africanism kind of, stereotypically, they're kind of known as like, the friendly.
And this is disingenuous right here. Don't sit up there and talk as if Malcolm X did not rally for black Americans as well. He spoke more as a Pan-Africanist much later in his career because he needed an alternate ideology after leaving and breaking away from Elijah Muhammad. And you mention all these people who have been in support of Pan-Africanism, these black men who lived long ago. And if it's such a wonderful and attainable ideology, why are we still just talking about it today? How come it doesn't even have as much momentum as the so-called FBA movement, as the Delineation movement? It don't have legs like that. We've come to the understanding that it's not realistic right now. And it's unrealistic because of these tethers, these tribalistic black people in the diaspora. Y'all are the exact reason why it's a myth right now and is dead right now. Let's continue.
Guys and the peace and love, we just want to love our people, and we come in peace, and we come in just like, we don't come with hostility. So I guess that kind of made it an easy target to become a punching bag, because you guys are the guys spreading peace and love and things like that. But when it comes to me, I'm more hostile in my Pan-Africanism, right? If you denigrate the ideology that my forefathers spilled blood and took life for, I'm not going to sit back and let you just throw dirt and stomp all over it. No, I'm going to send shots back. I'm going to fire back, right? And I'm going to fire back 10 times hard. I don't believe in proportionality. So if you send one shot, I'm going to send like a legion of fighter jets to raise the entire area, right? To burn the whole area to the ground. That's kind of how I operate. That's
exactly. And that's your character. You're just here online to attack other black men. I don't know why you putting up this front. That's what you get off on. You get off on attacking other black men, other black men's platform. That's why you've done that. And now you're just masking it behind, oh, I'm doing it because I'm a Pan-Africanist. No, you're a tribal-minded Haitian with the exact same mindset that led to the destruction of Africa. Let's continue.
That's what I feel, right? So when it comes to the enemies of Pan-Africanism, when it comes to those who have thrown dirt on the ideology and have gone around saying Pan-Africanism is dead, and that's fine, right? But don't get upset when we send shots back, right? Because the day...
No, nobody's throwing dirt on Pan-Africanism. Nobody. If you press someone like Tariq or some of these other people you're obsessed with because they speak against Dennis Sperling, because they speak talk about how it's unrealistic right now. If you press them, they will admit to you that Pan-Africanism is the smartest thing for global black people if it's realistic and attainable. It's just not attainable. Africa got whole other men in control of Africa. All them countries over there, under some type of colonial powers. Us here in America, we are not established enough right now. to be carrying out no real Pan-Africanism. It's just unrealistic. We've come to that realization. We're not clinging on to some old ideology that has not proven to work. Your channel, look at what you do on your channel. You sit up there and share news about African countries, what's going on in African countries. How is that supposed to benefit black people worldwide? You up here talking about Mali and Ghana, the Mali president finds gold over here, so they ain't sharing it with us. Mali recently he reported about how Mali took control recently of some gold mine, and that's what the Pan-Africans do. This is what this Pan-Africanism. They ain't giving you none of that gold. You a Haitian. They ain't about to loan you none of that. And that don't benefit us at all. You reporting on the things that's going on in Africa is not Pan-Africanism. That's just you lost. And what do you look like anyway? You over here in the United States. You're a Haitian in the United States with a problem against FBA. But let's continue. We'll come back to that.
The old days of the Pan-Africanism with the jewelry, the African, Ankh medallions and things like that, and reading the history books and things like that. That's fine. There's a place for that. But we are in a new age, right? We are in a new era, meaning that you should not feel comfortable disrespecting the ideology, right? The ideology is sacred. It's ancestral. Our ancestors spilled blood and took life for this.
See, no, bull. He's just using Pan-Africanism as an excuse to attack other black men. Simple as that. It is as simple as that. Using Pan-Africanism as an excuse to tear down other black men's platform. I really don't like this, because this is what a lot of Keishas do this. They have this inner hatred and they whip up some, excuse to carry out their hatred. You're a hateful person. It's really as simple as that. You're a hateful individual, and your hatred is primarily towards other black men, not black women. You simp for black women, while at the same time crying the blues and complaining about how much they worship Brad, which has me scratching my head. Why are you so? But we'll get deeper into that a little later. Let's continue with this.
Because they made those sacrifices, we're going to defend it. So when you slander it, when you try to discredit it, we're going to send shots back. We're going to give you the response. And we're not going to respond in proportion. We're not going to respond in proportion to the force that you levied against us. No, like I said, you throw one punch and we burning the whole neighborhood down, right? That's what it is now. And another thing we have to understand is, because Pan-Africanists, we promote the idea of unity, right? They kind of leverage that against us so we cannot defend ourselves. So when you send shots back, they try to say, wait, aren't you the peace, love, and unity guy? You're supposed to spread unity. Why you being so hostile, bro? No, you disrespected me. So I'm going to send shots back, right? Listen, I don't believe in uniting everybody, because everybody's not going to unite under the banner and the ideology of Pan-Africanism, right? So the Pan-Africanists simply have to focus on being more influential.
No, and you're not influential. And what do you mean burn the whole house down? Who describes debunking an argument like that? It just shows how deep you are in your own ego. I'm gonna burn the whole house down. I'm gonna send in fighter jets. And all he is talking about is him hopping on YouTube and running his mouth. Oh, watch me ether this black man who said something about Pan-Africanism is not real. Oh, you said Pan-Africanism is unrealistic? Watch me use my tongue and ether you. That's some old fairy type business. That's feminine. Yeah, you gonna throw a temper tantrum towards black men, and that's all you're doing. You taking personal jabs, you insulting these black men on a personal level. It's very woman-like. Taking shots at them personally. You're not just dealing with arguments, and you're getting off on the idea of throwing these goofy temper tantrums, and basically you're just trying to roast them, trying to disrespect them. That's all it is. Just you getting off on disrespecting other black men. And it really makes you no better than the average typical gangster who gets off on gunning other black men down and carry this hatred, this unrealistic, unprovoked hostility towards other black men in the streets. You're no different. Don't come talking about you're a Pan-Africanist or none of that nonsense. Let's continue.
Send shots back, right? Listen, I don't believe in uniting everybody, because everybody's not going to unite under the banner and the ideology of Pan-Africanism, right? So the Pan-Africanists simply have to focus on being more influential and being more powerful than our detractors and our naysayers, which we are, right? We are. Get in the comment section and drop the political ideology that is as influential, that is as historic, and that has put as many points on the board as Pan-Africanists. Name them. Name your historical figures that your ideology has produced, and I can name my historical figures, the black men that my ideology has produced, and then we can go toe for toe and see which ideology is supreme, right? And to be honest, I think that Pan-Africanism, it needs to become more hostile. It needs to become more aggressive, right? Because it's due to the fact that Pan-Africanists were historically seen as, like I said, the peace, love, happiness type of guys. We just love everybody. We love our people. It's because of that energy, that overly friendly energy, that made us the punching bag.
That don't even make sense. You gonna become more hostile for what? Just to be hostile? That don't even make no sense. Why would you just be hostile for the sake of being hostile just because somebody doesn't believe that Pan-Africanism is the best thing for us right now? Why not just debunk their belief? Discredit their argument. No, I'm going to burn the house down. No, I'm going to send fighter jets in. I'm going to roast them. I'm going to be disrespectful. I'm going to attack them. I'm going to make... You basically saying I'm going to be a degenerate. Because that's what I really want to be. I just want to be a disrespectful, hateful degenerate towards other black men because you get off on that. I mean, look at the photo he chose for this. But let's continue.
When it comes to me, I don't feel that I need to be friendly with those who have identified themselves as my adversaries, right? If you stand in opposition to the ideology, you are my adversary, regardless if you're a black man or not. I'll ride on you too.
That don't make no sense either. Just because we don't agree with Pan-Africanism don't make us your adversary. You sound like an insane individual. How? How are we operating against you just because we don't believe Pan-Africanism is the way to go? That's extremely petty and stupid. And the truth is that a lot of these immigrants, they're mad at black Americans for rejecting Pan-Africanism because they view Pan-Africanism as a way to be superior to black Americans. And you know what? We'll get in more into that later. I'll let his idol, Tariq Nasheed, explain that.
Two, because like I said, this is an ideology that our forefathers spilled blood and took life for. So we're not going to let anybody stomp all over it. We're not going to let anybody disrespect it. And we don't need to unite everybody under one banner, right? Everybody's not going to unite under one banner. Everybody.
Again, saying it's unrealistic is not disrespecting it. Didn't I say it? Just like I said at the beginning of this stream, he takes things out of context. Saying that Pan-Africanism is unattainable right now, unrealistic right now. We are not set up. We are not positioned. Black people around the world don't have that kind of camaraderie. You even go over to those countries, they can't even get along with each other in those countries. How in the world are we going to expect them to not only get along with blacks globally, but also do business with blacks globally? Are you insane? What kind of world are you living in? You can believe that is what we should do in the long run. That makes much more sense. But right now, people like you, tribes like you, need to get your little envy under control. Get the hate out your heart. Get the tribalism out of your mind. Get yourselves together in your homelands, wherever you are. And once we can show that we can work with each other where we are, then we can progress to a global Pan-African thing. Some of us have simply matured. Let's continue.
Everybody's not going to unite under one geopolitical ideology. We just have to make sure that we are more influential than those who stand against us. That's it. And we've already accomplished that. The Pan-Africanists, like I said, Pan-Africanism is the leading political ideology in the black world today, being discussed in the halls of power, being discussed at the Pentagon, being discussed at the Elysee Palace. The rest of y'all, whatever ideology you profess to be a part of, your ideology ain't making no noise on that level. They're not talking about you. They're not thinking about you. You ain't doing nothing. And that's the reality. If your ideology is not censored on the prosperity and the protection of our people around the world, then you're not really doing nothing, bro. Like I said, out of all the various ideologies within the black community, within the black world, it's only the Pan-Africanists being spoken about by secretaries of state, four-star generals, foreign policy think tanks, because the geopolitical goals of Pan-Africanism stands in direct opposition to the geopolitical goals of the established power structure. And in fact, I saw an excellent comment in my comment section. This brother's...
Yeah, they talking about Pan-Africanism, about how much it ain't a threat right now. Just us talking about it got them talking about it. Who cares? People in high places are talking about all kinds of things. They're talking about the delineation of FBA, talking about black Americans. We're not sitting up with our pom-poms out throwing parties over the fact that they talking about us. What kind of nonsense is that? Ooh, Secretary of State talking about my ideology. If it ain't being lived out on this earth, who cares? That is goofy as all get up. Let's continue.
It said this: Pan-Africanism is not just one of the ideologies, it is the only logical ideology for the entire black world. It is the only ideology that puts our political interests first, our collective diverse cultures first, our economic development first, and our collective survival as a whole. So any black person that professes to be against this is truly lost. Now, like I said, I've come to terms with it.
And nobody's professing to be against that at all. At all. It's just unrealistic. And it's primarily because of you tethers. And I'm going to prove that you personally are also a tether. Y'all come over here and y'all got this hatred for not only black Americans, y'all at war with other groups in your homeland. But see, that Pan-African thing allows you to come over here to the United States and claim to be a real African, while we black Americans identifying as African American are some type of carbon copy Africans, which would make y'all superior to us. And we're not going for it. We'll get deeper into that later. Let's continue.
The fact that there's going to be those who stand against the ideology, and that's fine. Like I said before, we don't need to unite everybody under one geopolitical banner. All we have to focus on is being more influential than those who stand against us, right? Those who stand against the movement and the ideology, we just have to focus on being more influential than them, right? Having more capacity and resources than them. And so far, that's already been established. That's already been established, right? When you got four-star generals of the most powerful military in the world, he got to take a step back and acknowledge the power of the ideology, right? Where he got to run to the media and do damage control because the Pan-Africanists been ringing the alarm. Like I said, when it came to the Pan-Africanists, we've always been the number one threat against the adversary. Going all the way back to the days of Desoline, the days of Christophe, to the days of Antonin Furman, to the days of Garvey, to the days of Malcolm X, to the days of Lumumba. We've always been the number one threat. Black men under this banner have always been the number one threat. We've always been the number one target.
Y'all ain't got no banner. And Pan-Africanists, y'all not really an established group like that. It's nothing but black men who agree that yes, it's smart for blacks worldwide to work with each other for our own global survival. Work with each other just like whites globally work for each other. That don't mean that we are some type of identifiable organization. What do y'all throw up gang signs? You got your own symbols or something? What are you talking about? But let's continue.
Target. And it is what it is. So anybody coming against us when we're the most powerful men in the whole room, you're looking stupid. The Pan-Africanists are the most powerful black men in the room. Every room we step in, the Pan-Africanist black male is the premier black male in the room. I'm sorry to tell you, and it's been that way for centuries, and it's going to continue being that way for the foreseeable future, right? The rest of y'all non-Pan-Africanist black males, you guys
What
are...
is he talking about? Listen to him. We're the most powerful black men in the room. We ain't never been in no room. What room you talking about? Ain't been no room of black men with different ideologies going at it. What are you talking about? This is nothing but egomania. My ideology is the most powerful. Blah, blah, blah. Get out of here. Why don't you go move to Africa? Since you so crazy about Africa, why you over here in the United States, huh? Why you refuse to move back to the motherland? Why don't you move back to Haiti? Why you over here in America really cosplaying as a black American, huh? Why? That the Pan-Africanism is a way for non-FBAs to undermine us. They feel that that's why they're so angry with the delineation, because they feel like Pan-Africanism, it won't be effective without black Americans supporting it. It won't really blow up if we are not supporting it. That's why all their smoke is for black Americans. When he sits up here and talks about the black men who are critical of the ideology of Pan-Africanism, who do you think that's what he's talking about? It's like, no, it doesn't make rational sense when you have blacks in their homelands who can't even practice teamwork in their homelands. And then you look at the immigrants who come over here operating against us, operating as our enemies, calling us all kinds of names, co-signing with these racist stereotypes about us. Don't tell us that we're somehow your enemy for calling that out. Yeah, we are calling that nonsense out. Y'all come over here and get political positions. Even on a social level, you come over here operating against us as if we're the enemies of blacks worldwide, when we're the ones who fought for y'all to even come over here. We are calling that out. None of your nonsense babble about us being anti-Pan-Africanism is going to stop that. What's wrong with these people? Come over here, y'all acting like fools, and as soon as we call it out, you want to say, oh, you're against Pan-Africanism. Yeah, we ain't uniting with y'all degenerates. Let's continue.
Are minuscule in front of the Pan-Africanist black male. The Pan-Africanist black male is a giant compared to you cockroaches and you centipedes and you caterpillars. We are a giant when we step inside the room. Show respect when you run into the Pan-Africanist black male, right? We have big shoes to fill because the black men that came before us, listen, they left historical legacies that we can only dream of fulfilling. So at the end of the day, show respect when you talk about the ideology. When you talk about Pan-Africanism, watch your mouth.
Man, watch your mouth. And when you're talking about Malcolm X, most of his fame was gained by his support of black Americans. Him speaking on black American history, on what black Americans went through. Later on in his career, when he was talking about over there in Africa and all that, we couldn't relate to that. And that's when he lost a lot of his popularity. And he wasn't even doing that for that long. What are you talking about? But let's continue.
Because it's a new day. You're not going to sit back and crack jokes and make it the butt of the joke. We're going to fire back. And when we fire back, we're not going to fire back in proportionality. We're going to fire back with deliberate, excessive force. And that it is what it is. Anyways, man, it's your boy Nephicari, Desoline, back in the building. Yes, indeed. Cash App in the description. Support the channel. Join the Patreon, man. Join the Patreon family. Patreon.com/NTD1814. Link in the description. Pinned comment at the top. Gain access to dozens of videos you have never seen, never been uploaded on.
Then he plays one of his rap songs. He's a rapper. Why are you rapping? Trying to cosplay. You got all this smoke for black Americans, but yet you've tethered yourself. You built your image, your spirit on our culture. Rap is our culture, not y'all's, not Haitians. This is y'all's music. Stop rapping. Can you do that? Stop rapping and go back to singing your native music. How about that? How about that? This is your native music. ain't even into that. Not even the people dancing is feeling that. White folk just walking right on by them. See, black Americans, we don't have a history of white folks just walking by us. We out there performing in person, they gonna stop and watch. Y'all, they hear that, they walk right on by. That's y'all's music. Why don't you go do this? Stop being a rapper. How about that? So hypocritical. Now, I'm going to let the man you hate so much, and this is one of the things I agree with Tariq on. Tariq says a lot of things that infuriate me. And sometimes I wonder if Tariq's an agent. Sometimes. Because a lot of things he does is just like unnecessary. And he does a lot of things, like I said, just is childish and ratchet. He got a lot of ratchetness in him. You know? But this is one thing. When Tariq goes into history, and when he talks about what he's about to talk about right now, I fully co-sign with where he's coming from.
But listen, we, millions of foundational Black Americans, are delineating, and not to harm anybody. We're just recognizing our unique ethnogenesis. We're recognizing it and respecting it, and we're calling out, ladies and gentlemen, all the disrespect that's been happening for so long. And what we're seeing now, see, the Tethers tried to play this game where they tried to downplay the momentum of the delineation movement. They tried to lie to themselves. Oh, this sheet is only on Twitter. This is some Twitter sheet. It's only on the internet. No, that's you lying to yourself. Now, people see that foundational Black Americans are not allowing ourselves to be generic Africans only to be exploited by all of these other groups. We're not letting that happen no more. Those days are over. Smack or crack or whatever your name is. Those days are over. You know it. That's why you're salty. You're calling here, babbling and talking in circles. Those days are over. You're not leeching off us no more. Everybody's going to have to pull their weight. Everybody's going to have to hold their own nuts. When weird stuff happens, we say, hey, wait a minute, that dude, he ain't us. That's, don't put him on us. Don't know. We're not to blame for that. His last name is foreign. That ain't us. We're distancing ourselves from riffraff behavior. With this Ebony thing, you have people by the droves criticizing Ebony for the tethering of the Essence, not Ebony, but Essence, I'm in Essence. The tethering of the Essence Fest and how they basically culturally vandalized it to a certain degree. Everybody's calling that out. So the Tethers are getting real nervous. They're getting very, very nervous. They start trying to blame me. But listen, let me tell you something. I don't blame me. I was just one of the first to point all of those shenanigans out because I saw it decades ago. Instead of them taking responsibility for their damn anti-FBA shenanigans that they've been having going on for the past decades, they want to sit up and try to point the finger and blame me. Oh, the government got you niggas hitting us. Shut up. No. People are calling out your exploitive, disrespectful actions. And let me tell you something. Remember, on social media, these people really got that anti-Black American vibe going really online. You started to see it online heavily around 2012, right around that time. They've always, a lot of them always did it a little secretly. They had this contempt. They would have all these little conversations with each other, stay away from the akata. They would say this at home and in private. We didn't know about it. But when social media started popping, especially Twitter in particular, because that's when people could really just tweet whatever random thoughts you had. Yeah. Whereas, social media like MySpace, it wasn't quite the same, but with Twitter, you can just tweet out any random thought very quickly. And you can interact with people more fluently, and you can get more comfortable within your circles on Twitter. So around that time, 2012, right when Obama was in office, right when some of the grassroots uprisings started to happen, right after Trayvon Martin and all that, we start seeing the tether class on social media denigrating us. A lot of folks weren't catching it because they would use little words like Akata, and at the time, a lot of FBAs just didn't know what that meant. But yeah, we were watching these folks and see the rise of the grassroots movement around 2012 when we were fighting against police brutality. Then they rebranded that Black Lives Matter. See, that gained momentum 2012, 2013, and a lot of African and Caribbean immigrants. They they felt a lot of pressure to kind of distance themselves from what they perceived as the loud, radical, overly aggressive Black activists. You see, so we're fighting in the streets trying to confront these race soldiers, and these tethers. They wanted proximity to whiteness, so they would be on the back end, like, oh yeah, You see that Negro over there with a Molotov cocktail? That ain't me now. I'm not like that nigga. They'd be behind the scenes making little deals like, oh, I'm not like him. I'm not gonna give you no trouble like that. You feel me? We saw them. I mean, we saw them in real time, and then all of a sudden, we start getting these weirdos that didn't nobody know pop up as the spokespersons. Like, yes, my name is such and such, and I'm part of Black Lives Matter Cleveland, and I say trans lives matter too, and immigrants matter. We're like, huh? What the hell? We start seeing all that weird stuff, and then the organization Black Lives Matter, who they get? They got some tethers, some of these non-FBA women as the leaders, but nobody knew them. We don't know them. We're like, who are they? Nobody knew these people. We're telling you how this stuff started to play out. So these folks knew that they were going to make a little side deal with the white supremacists while we were out there in the streets turning up. They were in the back channel making little deals like, yeah, we'll get out there and we'll be the spokespersons for these folks. You elevate us, we'll be the mouthpiece, and then we're going to redirect all of the energy. So if a black person gets killed, we're going to show up to the protest twerking and then talking about immigration. We start seeing this stuff in real time. And then when they get on social media, some of these folks, they would talk greasy about foundational Black Americans. They talk real greasy about us. Man, y'all go back and look at some of the tweets from like 2012 to around 2018. Boy, Akata, we were all types of Akatas. These people were so comfortable talking greasy about us. They were very comfortable talking greasy about us. And we up here on some, yeah, we got to fight for our brothers and sisters. We on some.
Now, seriously, why shouldn't we call this out? Why shouldn't we look at this dynamic and say to ourselves, Pan-Africanism is unrealistic right now? Wouldn't that be the most logical conclusion for a black American? Like, whoa, look at this. Look at this. From foreigners in high places to the ones who live next door to the ones who live in these segregated enclaves. They are all over the world and in our country here in America talking about us as if they are a group of white supremacists. Why shouldn't we look at this as something that prevents Pan-Africanism, and it actually makes Pan-Africanism not even possible? Y'all remember the Prime Minister of Ethiopia even hopping on talking about black Americans and how dysfunctional we are. So it is from the lowest level to the highest level, whether it be here in America or in Africa. You got this legion of tethers who really make Pan-Africanism not possible. That is not being disrespectful to your ideology. The ideology itself still makes sense, despite these people who prevent it from being a reality. The ideology still makes sense. See, again, taking things out of context, because you gravitate towards any narrative that represents conflict and that opens the door for you to attack someone, because again, you primarily get off on attacking other black men. I've disagreed with things Tariq have said. I've made videos talking about the things I disagree, but I never resorted to trying to tarnish his public image, trying to destroy his or any other black. The only person is Anton Daniels, another tether over here, again, letting us know why this Pan-African thing is not possible right now. Y'all ain't ready for no real Pan-Africanism.
So yes, we all got to get together. We're saying that, but they online calling us all types of Akatas and Jarirs and Yanks and just everything. Yeah. And they benefited from FBA sacrifice while mocking the fighters. While we were on the front line taking risks, getting attacked, some people getting killed. My good brother, Darren Seald, rest in peace. The ops killed our brother, man. I mean, we had folks losing their lives out here. Yeah, I'm being targeted with all types of shit. We out here risking our damn lives. And then we see these immigrant groups reaping the benefits of it. Yeah, we start all of a sudden we're like talking about police reform, and they start like, yes, diversity and minority funding for immigration. And they're like, what? Oh, hold on, I ain't risking my life for no damn immigration. Now, what's this shit? That's when I'm like, I got real sensitive to it because I didn't like none of that shit they were doing back then. because then I'm becoming a target. At that time, man, I was hell on these race soldiers. I'm up here banging on the damn police chief, the prosecutors, making them release people out of jail, getting people out of custody, getting people's charges dropped. We were banging on these folks. And then we were getting targets put on our backs for doing that. And then all of a sudden, I start seeing folks hugging killer cops and, oh, hey, man, what the fuck is this shit? I said, hold on, man. Hold on. Especially with that Botham John thing. They family up there hugging the woman all in court. I said, man, hold on, man. Hold on. And remember, with Botham John's family, it was us on the grassroots stomping to get that woman prosecuted. We were on that woman's bumper. Her family, we were putting all that stuff on Front Street. She got convicted, and then Botham John's family, they got some money and then put together some kind of scholarship for Caribbeans. I said, what? Come on, y'all remember that? Come on, let's no.
We were stomping for them. They got some money and put together something for Caribbeans. Where's the Pan-Africanism in that? And again, pointing that out, acknowledging that is not an attack against Pan-Africanism. We're asking a question. Where's the Pan-Africanism in that? Whenever, and this is true, whenever they make a come up, they point out their ethnicity. Y'all the one came over here with that tribal mindset. We was the ones stomping and pushing the ideology of Pan-Africanism through Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Amos Wilson. But it was unrealistic. You even remember, many of you remember Khalid Muhammad going to Africa and then sharing his experience about how anti-Black American they were over there. You telling us we shouldn't point this out? That we shouldn't look at this as something that will prevent Pan-Africanism and eventually be like, look, this Pan-Africanism thing is not realistic right now? You out of your mind, Nephicari, Desoline. And I told you in your comment section, don't respond to my stream because I ain't clout chasing you. You up here on this internet looking for attention like a woman, getting off on subscribers. Here, I pointed out your nonsense because your idea of Pan-Africanism is pulling out the pom-poms whenever somebody in African country does something. Oh, yay, that ain't Pan-African nothing. That don't benefit global blacks. It's a fake little Pan-African thing you got going on. Now, some of you are aware that recently, he has also, this Nephicari guy, has made a series of videos attacking Tariq and a series of videos attacking Dennis Sperling. Attacking Dennis Sperling. Now, I told y'all that he made a video bragging, and we're about to go to it now. And it was actually the video we just watched. He made a video bragging about how many black men he has dissed. Listen to this.
Guys are minuscule in front of the Pan-Africanist black male. The Pan-Africanist black male is a giant compared to you cockroaches and you centipedes and you caterpillars. We are a giant when we step inside the room. Show respect when you run into the Pan-Africanist black male, right? We have big shoes to fill because the black men that came before us, listen, they left historical legacies that we can only dream of fulfilling. So at the end of the day, show respect.
Wait a minute, that's not it. That's not it. And if I can't find it, I'll just skip it. Take my word for it. This joker made this video and he was talking about he said, I'm quoting him word for word. He said, your favorite YouTuber? I probably dissed him. And he went down a long list of black male YouTubers who he has attacked. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Because I'll come right back with the actual video that I'm talking about. He was talking about how he attacked O'Shea, Tariq, Dennis Sperling, a whole number of guys I didn't even heard of, a bunch of them. And I'm like, what is this? You bragging about all the black men that you've attacked? Black men who simply trying to start up a YouTube channel probably trying to make some side money or whatever. And that's what you've dedicated your channel to. Just look at his channel. Let's go to his channel right now. When I asked him, I'm like, so Pan-Africanism to you is being a cheerleader and saying yay whenever a African country does it. Look at this. Mali takes over a massive gold mine with zero foreign investment. Okay, good for Mali. How is that Pan-Africanism? Again, they ain't giving us none of that gold. Look at this. Mali army kills 80 terrorists. Okay? This is Pan-Africanism, huh? Look at this. White man. This is goofy stuff. And he's a rapper. White men just banned this African woman from Europe. Here's why. Okay, you just reporting global news, basically. And every now and then, you're obsessed with black Americans, so you're attacking people look like this. And look at this video. Who won? Dennis Sperling versus Nephicari Desoline. Huh? Who won it? Y'all ain't never had no debate that I'm aware of. This dude he gets off on conflict against other black men. He gets off on it. And look at this. This is actually kind of creepy. This is actually kind of creepy. And this is one of the reasons why I say, this guy, you're not a real Pan-Africanist, dude. That's BS. Look at the videos he made about Dennis Sperling. Look at that. Got his face here with the word idiot right next to it. And look at the title. Failed lawyer wants to sue Africa. Another one. Failed lawyer. Keeps calling him a failed lawyer. So, Dennis filed a lawsuit against him. Oh, yes, he did. As he should have. And I hope he sue your head off. You out here reckless, running your mouth, attacking black men, having orgasms, attacking black men. Is that what you use your wealth of knowledge and your you're pretty articulate? That's what you use it for. I don't respect it. Mr. Pan-African, Mr. Super Black Man, you're fake. You don't do nothing but attack other black men. I don't respect that.
Why don't we sue Ghana and all these rest of these Africans and let them two deal with their partners from back in the day? Y'all was all in cahoots together to load us up on those ships. This young man thought it was a good idea to refer to me as a failed lawyer and explain why he's scared to ask the white man for reparations. This young man thought it was a good idea to challenge me as an attorney and say I'm a failed lawyer. This affects my career. This causes me stress. This affects my career. This interferes with my ability to make money and feed my family.
Yeah, we back. Yeah, we back. Now, today we're going to be talking about Dennis Sperling. Going to be responding to Dennis Sperling. Now, for those of y'all who may not be familiar with Dennis Sperling, he is a failed lawyer turned YouTuber. He went through various rebrands on YouTube, man. I remember back in the day.
Again, the disrespect. A failed lawyer. He just straight out the gate. And if you ask me, Dennis don't deserve to be spoken of like that. I disagree with a bunch of things that Dennis says. But he don't deserve to be disrespected like that. He himself is a very respectful man. Dude, you have absolutely no respect at all. Don't come talking about how much you are a Pan-Africanist anything. If you're going to be a Pan-Africanist, that's all about working with other black men. You have to establish a mentality to enable Pan-Africanism. It has to start with respect. That's the very beginning. You can't even get that down. You are totally off base on the basics. Don't get no more disrespectful than this. When I disagree with what Tariq said, I didn't make no thumbnail like this. I wasn't calling him no idiot. I just shared his opinion and shared my disagreement. Like a mature man, a respectful fellow black man. You can't even get that down right. So yeah, don't respect that.
Back when Kevin Samuels was still alive, rest in peace. Back then, Dennis Sperling was a backup dancer for Kevin Samuels, right? He was a weed carrier for Kevin Samuels, right? That's why he started his channel, because he saw Kevin Samuels blowing up, so he tried to do his own thing too. But he never had the presentation of a Kevin Samuels, right? You know, Dennis Sperling, he always been the sloppy, disheveled looking dude off to the side. So that didn't work. So Kevin Samuels passed away, unfortunately. And then he transitioned to the Passport Bros thing, right? It went from the Kevin Samuels, you know, we dealing with women, to now we Passport Bros. We going to Venezuela. You know, we going to find a mulatto with some flip-flops in the village, and we going to marry her and bring her back to, you know, California. I remember, because there was a time he was taking videos on the beach in the Dominican Republic, things like that. Oh yeah, brother, come get you a quadroon in the middle of Santiago. We lit, right? I remember that was the wave, right? But like I said, you know, always been the sloppy, disheveled looking dude off to the side. Always been a lame. Never really had the presentation to really blow up on YouTube like that. Now,
what? You see what I mean? What's with all the hate? Sloppy, disheveled, failed lawyer. And what are your credentials? What do you do for a living? Seeing as you trying to call out somebody else's lifestyle and what they do for a living. What do you do for a living? Are you more successful? Yeah, Dennis traveling around the world, mingling with hot chicks from Thailand and all over Asia, while you still talking about this mythological black queen that you still ain't found. This black woman who's on your level that you still ain't found. Here we are in the age of the internet, where it's easier than ever to find other people of like minds. And you still ain't found this African queen, yet you still looking for her? Get out of here. Dennis is a decent person. He is a good dude. And his response, even Dennis's response to Nephicari was respectful. And it's pathetic. You know, dudes like you are pathetic, and you're a young man. So you got time to correct yourself. But this is truly pathetic. One thing Dennis is not is disrespectful. Couldn't believe this dude. Listen to this.
Back. Yeah, we back. Now, today we're going to be talking about Dennis Sperling. Yes, once again, we're going to be talking about Dennis Sperling. Yes, he's still back at it again, talking about he's going to sue the African continent for selling him into slavery, right? So, once again, I'm back into it. I'm on your head, boy. Now, in this video, Dennis was basically, you know, responding to his critics and detractors, basically, who were asking him, all right, I hear you. You want to sue the African continent, but how come you don't want to, you know, confront the Western colonial?
I'm on your head. This dude, he tries to push himself off as some type of internet bully. But dude, your arguments are weak. Your arguments are weak. Now this is the response from Dennis Sperling. Hopefully
He
Oh,
did
no,
the
it's
number
still-
one
wait a minute.
violation from the Matrix.
The 8 minute, if I'm not mistaken. It's always done. Oh no. Yeah, we're gonna go it right here. We're gonna go right to the source. And Dennis even shared he shared everything.
And I thought y'all learned this lesson. I thought you all knew that I'm going to protect my reputation. To challenge me, which I don't have a problem with. Okay, I don't have a problem. And there was a young Haitian man. Somebody type Haitian. A young Haitian man who decided that it was a good idea not only to challenge me, which I don't have a problem with. Okay, I don't have a problem with people challenging me on my ideas. I love it when people come and challenge me and prove that I'm wrong. At least we're having an educated conversation. I like that. Okay, I have never backed down from a challenge. I like that. Okay, I have no problem with that. Okay, I want you to understand that I have no problem. If you all disagree with what I'm saying here, if you don't like my facts, you challenge my facts, I'm cool with that. But what you can't do, family, with me at least, and I thought y'all learned this lesson. I thought you all knew that I'm going to protect my reputation at all costs. This young man thought it was a good idea to refer to me as a failed lawyer and explain why he's scared to ask the white man for reparations. This young man thought it was a good idea to challenge me as an attorney and say I am a failed lawyer. This affects my career. This causes me stress. This affects my career. This interferes with my ability to make money and feed my family. When you get on the internet and you get 4,600 views and say I'm a failed lawyer, and not only did he say it once, said it twice, failed lawyer wants to sue Africa for selling him into slavery. You understand what I'm saying? Now, see, this is the problem that we have. I have no problem with anybody challenging me on my ideas. You understand? I have no problem with that at all. But when you begin to attack me personally, when you challenge me as an attorney and say that I'm a failed lawyer, that affects my business. Why would you do that to a black man? Why would you do that? Why would you try to prevent me from being able to take care of my children, take care of my family?
I'll tell you why, Dennis. Because these foreigners have no respect. They have no code. They have savage behavior, uncivilized, tribal behavior, full of conflict. They're all about attacking other black people. One thing we as black American men practice is respect. At least some degree or level of respect. Now, do you hear how Dennis responded to this guy? Still being respectful to this guy. A lot of people would consider Dennis a square. You don't attack this guy the way that you did, you degenerate. That was a straight up classless, off code, degenerate. All these videos he made, and go listen to the videos. Extremely disrespectful, and it's like in a degenerate way, where he's constantly taking things out of context like he always does.
I have been nominated and inducted into the Hall of Fame at Southern University Law School. And this young Haitian black man, after all my 25 years of practicing law, decides to get on the internet and try to undermine all that by calling me a failed lawyer.
He did a lot more than that, Dennis. And this is what we've been talking about. Why is it so hard to show other black men respect? Especially if you claim to be a Pan-Africanist. Why is it so hard for you to simply share his argument, share Dennis Sperling's argument, say, I disagree, and here's why? Why not just leave it at that? You always brag about how articulate you are. Let how articulate you are and how good your argument is be the strength of your video. You wanted a good chunk of strength of your videos to be you roasting and being disrespectful like a flipping degenerate. No respect for that. You said yourself Dennis old enough to be your father. and you crash out on dude like that, that is pathetic. And this guy, he's always talking about his channel and Pan-Africanists as if they are, you know, Big Willie out here running things like they running the yard. Y'all ain't running nothing. And if your channel is supposed to be some type of example of how y'all running the yard, then I really feel sorry for you. Yeah, you might have more subscribers than me, but one, this is just one of many of my channels. I mean, altogether, I have just as many or more subscribers as you, but I'm not bragging about that. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because he pointed it out. I left a comment on his channel.
Yeah, we back. Yeah, we back. Now,
right here. Let me see here. Let's take a look at it. I said, so, Pan-Africanism is cheerleading anything that any African country accomplishes. None of that gold is going to be sent to you from Mali. Mali is not about to share that gold with other nations who claim to be Pan-African. He responded. He said, you have been uploading and streaming on YouTube for several years, getting 200 views on each video. Instead of trying to educate me on African gold, you need to figure out how to get anyone to see the value in what you have to say. So he immediately deflected, changed the subject, didn't want to address what I said, and instead acted like a woman. I get more attention than you. Why don't you get as much attention as me, and then I'll respond to you like a little sissy. I've responded to several people who've had far less subscribers than me. The difference between me and you is I'm not full of myself. I don't measure the quality of my opinions based on how many subscribers I have. I don't measure the quality of other people's opinions based on how many subscribers they have. That is sissified. I get more attention than you. And just ignore the question, huh? That is pathetic. You walk around like you all big and bad, like you can crush anybody's argument. Soon as somebody give you some pushback, you tuck tail and run like a dog. I even brought that to your attention. I said, nice deflection. I have other channels with more subs, but my subs is not the subject. And look, you're a red pill Tariq fanboy. Nobody's watching that garbage. It's not 2020. Again, gave this sissified female response. And I'm not a red pillar or a Tariq fanboy. But he responded like a flipping Keisha. You need more views. You need to get more views. Get out of here. That's pathetic. Pathetic, dude. Stop attacking black men. Stop attacking our image. Okay? Leave the brothers who have a different opinion alone. Now, look at his channel. Take a good look at his channel. Since you want to brag about your 28,000 subscribers, let's look at your channel. Your glorious, your dominant channel that you think you so powerful. Oh, look at my 28,000 subscribers. I bet you go around telling people you got 30,000, don't you? Oh, I got 33,000 subscribers. You really got 28,000. Look at your views. Dude, you're not that popping yourself. A guy with 28,000 subscribers, and your views are relatively low compared to the number of subscribers you have. There are several content creators who get more views than you, but have fewer subscribers. That speaks to the quality of your content. Some of your videos haven't even cracked 1,000 views. Since you want to talk about views, you talking as if you big ballin' when it comes to views. You're not, dude. You think Pan-Africans are running things? Here's a Pan-African channel with 100,000 subscribers. 112,000 subscribers. That's a lot more than 28,000, ain't it? But because it's Pan-African, look at the views. Oh, look at the views. 500, 1.3 thousand, 291, 300, 900, 400, 200. These videos were uploaded months ago. Months ago. This is where your channel headed. This is where you headed, bro. We supposed to be following you in Pan-Africanism to this? Talking about news that's popping off across Africa? I don't know how that's Pan-Africanism anyways. But you push your channel as a Pan-African channel. Look, man, most of us, we're not impressed. I ain't impressed with this. I have no interest in reporting on African news. Bunch of people over there who ain't thinking about us. Your ideology makes no sense. It's a waste of flipping energy. Complete waste of energy. You always talking about how Tariq has low IQ content, right? Ain't that what you like to talk about? And I'm not a Tariq defender. I'm actually a Tariq critic, especially when it comes to his stance on Black American women. But you refer to his content as low IQ content. But if you go to his channel, you're going to find this video right here. Look at the title. How to smash an IG model. And he's showing this video throughout the whole video. But that ain't the kicker. I want you to hear what he says.
Keep a conversation going for 4 to 5 hours to the point where, like she said, she's like, man, let's get in the bedroom. That is how you avoid spending unnecessary money. A lot of you guys, man, y'all be upset because these chicks be having you going to this restaurant, going to this cafe, going to this lounge, and next thing you know, you blowing a hole through your debit card and you ain't even getting no cheeks, man. You ain't even sniffing no cheeks. Meanwhile, the next dude, the only thing that he had to spend was the spare change that he used to go to the corner store to get a blunt wrap. He came back to the crib, rolled up. He already had drinks, he already had bottles, he already had liquor at the crib, and he ended up smashing for 4 to 5 rounds, and you ain't even smashed for 1 round, and you spent like $500-$600. And I understand why you mad, but listen, in this video, we giving y'all the game, man. We giving y'all the knowledge, especially directly from the horse's mouth. Man, did you hear what Angela Yee said, or whatever one of those chicks said? She said having a conversation for 4 to 5, 6 hours is equivalent to like 3 to 4 dates. You heard that, bro? You heard that? Now, if you took a chick on a date, you would have spent like goddamn $1,000. But see, the next dude, like I said, he could talk to her for 3 to 4 or 5 hours, not spend 1 cent, not spend 1 penny, not spend $1, and she holds that as equivalent to you taking her to Roof Chris 4 to 5 times. Hey, it is what it is. The game is the game. The game is the game. Also, one last thing I want to touch on. Penny, not spend $1, and she holds that as equivalent to you taking her to Roof Chris 4 to 5 times. Hey, it is what it is. The game is the game. The game is the game.
The game is the game. The game is the game. The hell are you talking about, man? Joe goofy. Man, what are you talking about, man? This dude actually getting into how to smash an IG model. It don't sound like you get tail at all, bro. It really doesn't. This is some real thirsty content right here. You trying to explain how to smash an IG model, fantasizing, and trying to get your viewers to travel with you in your fantasy by showing a video of this broad walking in tight clothing with a BBL. You know how pathetic and virgin like this? Are you a virgin or something? That's the game, brothers. That's how you smash. Dude, you talk about low IQ. Now, this was early in his YouTube career. What happened to that kind of content, bro? Huh? What happened to that kind of content? You like to talk about other black male content creators having changed up how they operate, yet you yourself experimented in a bunch of lowbrow content. You find hypocrisy all throughout your channel. You find a bunch of creepy tethering. You up here rapping, got you a little rap album, constantly trying to take digs at black Americans. And this guy has made several videos just taking shots at FBA. Even in his rap lyrics, he talks about how he flex on the Americans. Yeah, I be flexing on the African Americans. Rapping. Dude. Dude, ain't nobody really impressed with this garbage, man. You really think you doing big things, but the biggest attraction to your channel is when you attack other black men, and you know it. You know it. And it's pretty pathetic. Even back when you used to talk about these rappers, DJ Academics, dude, 2 years ago, 249 views. Who are you to sit up and mock my views when you got 2-year-old videos that got fewer views than mine? What are you talking about? There's another one, 254, 49, and you up here talking about Floyd Mayweather, 50 Cent, and a bunch of other celebrities. Yeah, you ain't really balling like that. And it looks like you have experimented because your whole objective is to get attention. It's to get subscribers. And like I said, you found your niche in attacking other black men. And again, it's pathetic. He tries to show respect to this guy, Afro Think Tank. But this Afro Think Tank is yet another Pan-Africanist with nothing but a bunch of smoke for black Americans. Now, I don't know if this joker is black American or not, but if he is, he's just one of those, Sambos. Just a Pan-African Sambo. And if I'm not mistaken, he moved over to Africa. This Afro Think Tank guy, he moved over to Africa. And Nephicari has done more than one video shouting this guy out. They shout each other out, actually. But look at this guy. He looks like he done moved back to Africa. I mean, look at dude. Now look at the title of the video. Anytime you hear a black person say Pan-Africanism is dead, this is what they're really saying. Look at this. Now FBA and ADOS are crying about Africans participating in the Essence Festival. So you see what type of content he creates? This is why Nephicari Desoline shouted him out. It ain't got nothing to do with no black camaraderie. It's just your fellow Pan-African possible tether who bonded in hatred of black Americans.
What is wrong with you people? So now y'all found a way to be hateful and xenophobia with the Essence Festival. Are you kidding me? all the little FBA minions, the little FBI freaking agents, all these light-skinned, racially ambiguous, non-freaking, non-face showing YouTube channels, all your little Tariq Nasheed minions, all of them out here. I can't believe that they were celebrating the Essence Festival, and it's supposed to be for black people, and you Africans shouldn't be celebrating Afro peace. I can't believe there was an African person at the Essence Festival. Oh my God.
What the hell? What the hell? First of all, back up. Back away from the camera. Y'all spitting in the camera and all this nonsense. And that's all y'all needed to see. This is some straight lowbrow, hateful degeneracy. Y'all not, you like to brag about how, oh, I'm intellectual. The content I create is so intellectual. Oh, this is better than Tariq Nasheed. And you're really jealous of Tariq. You're jealous of the attention that he gets. You're jealous of the support that he gets. That's why you want to be the guy to destroy Tariq Nasheed. That's all your videos is about. But you will never even have the influence of a Tariq Nasheed. And there are black Americans with more influence than Tariq Nasheed. But you're jealous of dude. And that's pathetic. And what you don't understand is that you reveal your jealousy of Tariq. And you're probably jealous of Dennis Sperling too. And to be honest, in general, it sounds like you and the rest of these Pan-Africans, y'all just jealous of black Americans. And it's a bad look. We can reject Pan-Africanism all we want. We are not African Americans. We are Americans. I've made videos where I'm talking about that the most accurate way to describe black Americans is American. We are the true Americans. They may have brought some people from Africa. The majority of us were already here. The majority were already here. Okay? And I just needed to get a few things straight. You can believe that you're Big Willie, that you running the deck, and all this nonsense. But bruh, if you ask me, Pan-Africanism is a pipe dream. It's a pipe dream. You've been at it for 2 years. Where are you at now? You're no farther along than you were 2 years ago when you started this channel. As you even admitted, Pan-Africanism has been talked about for a very long time. How far along are we with Pan-Africanism? We are at the same place we were back then. I tell you what has evolved though, the Black American movement. Us delineating, that's growing all kinds of legs. You seeing the everyday black person, you're seeing black people in high places with a lot of influence all across the map, identifying as American, Black American, FBA. That is what's actually gaining momentum. Pan-Africanism losing momentum. And just because somebody with a lot of influence says that Pan-Africanism makes sense, or even that they support it, that don't make them a Pan-Africanist. Because in their everyday life, they may very well be supporting things that are American. American. Anybody can, in a moment, in a few seconds, say, yeah, Pan-Africanism, yeah, that makes sense. And hopefully, we'll reach that point someday. And I'm saying that for myself right now. That don't make me no Pan-Africanist. So you don't get to claim all these people who you think Pan-Africanism produced. Get out of here. What do you have to show? What do you have to show? Nothing. And you're definitely not in a position to be sitting in judgment of people more successful than you. So like really, you constantly trying to trash black Americans who got more influence than you, who are more successful than you. Even I'm not stupid enough to call Dennis Sperling a failed lawyer. Just the fact that he's a lawyer, period, is most likely more than what you've ever done and what you are currently. In fact, if you were a lawyer, I doubt you'd even be online running your mouth the way that you are. What are you talking about? You're Haitian? Over here in America, probably been over here your whole life because you got a New York accent. You over here rapping. You have been shaped and molded by black Americans and black American culture. You speak with our delivery. Okay, ain't nothing about you Haitian, really. And ain't nothing about you African. What you dick riding Africa for? You all lost. You a Haitian in America, rapping, grew up in America, talking like Americans, talking about you a African. I'm a real African, ride for my queen. You still single. And still ain't found this mythological queen that you've been looking for. I'm African. What are you talking? Don't be African all you want. I'm not African. And the truth is, you ain't African either. Nobody about to sit up here and pretend to be no African for y'all just to make y'all feel more comfortable. Like I said, like Tariq pointed out, if we go around calling ourselves African American, what do you think is going to go on in the minds of Africans who are immigrants who come over here? They're going to simply say, we are the real Africans. These African Americans are nothing but carbon copies of us. So we are entitled to any and everything that they are entitled to. And in fact, we should get first dibs. We are the real Africans. And us calling ourselves African Americans makes us a fake African. Really a fake people with no identity. You can forget about that. We are Americans. We've been here in the Americas well over 10,000 years. We've actually been over here tens of thousands of years. Get it right. Tens of thousands. Just like there has been black people all over the world for tens of thousands of years. Nothing about America suggests that it would be any different. In fact, seeing that it is a much larger landmass than these islands scattered across the ocean that black people made it to and have been in these islands for thousands of years, it's far more likely that we would have reached this land first. On top of that, here in Americas is the only place where you find the remains of ancient civilizations. There is more evidence of black occupation going back farther than the Red Indian here now, and it still stands. We were here long before these Red Indians. You got whole civilizations here in the Americas. We got more proof that we've been here longer than anybody. We are the real Americans. I don't care how much that gets y'all's little panties in a bunch. It shouldn't affect you at all. In fact, blacks around the world, Africa included, should support it, because every other black demographic around the world identifies in line with their national origin. And it's foolish to launch attacks against Jamaicans for calling themselves Jamaican. Huh? Cubans for calling themselves Cuban. the Sentinelese people for calling themselves Sentinelese people. Every other black group is allowed to identify with their national and ancestral lands. The rules are not going to change when it comes to us. You can throw as many temper tantrums as you want. And I'll leave it there.